welcome back to the Hyperspace Podcast. My name is Sam, and I'm joined with the legend, Michael Ghosh. Michael, how you doing?
I'm not sure I'm quite legendary yet, but thank you. A legend yourself, Sam.
Oh, you're too kind. Yeah, welcome back. And today we are going to be talking about the Star Wars games, the confirmed games. We're not going to be talking about the rumored Knights of the Old Republic or Star Wars Battlefront 3. We will be talking about the new Lego game, which is expected very soon. Could be out before this release. Who knows? We're also going to be talking about the open world Star Wars game and Jedi Fallen Order 2. So I think let's just get straight into it with the game we know most about. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, expected spring 2021, which is now. So they could spring it on us at any point. And yeah, it looks very promising. Michael, what do you think about this game?
Well, the complete saga is probably one of the best Star Wars games ever made. So high expectations for this, and it needs to meet them. It needs to be at least as good as the complete saga, which is still a masterpiece, and I think it holds up. The news is looking good. The images are looking good. We've seen a little bit of gameplay footage. It's looking very promising.
Yeah, no, I agree. Some of the things that have been confirmed are quite. I think I couldn't believe it when I was hearing about this, but there are going to be 500 playable characters. 200 of those are variations of characters. 28 unique locations. 150 drivable vehicles, including capital ships and the Death Star. I mean, Michael, this sounds quite incredible. I mean, Lego's never done
Yeah,
anything.
I've had a quick look at the list of so far it's 121 confirmed characters that they've named, and it's looking promising. I mean, there's some Clone Wars characters as well, which we all kind of expect, but it's nice to see one of the characters supposedly confirmed is a clone trooper from the 332nd, so it's the Ahsoka unit from the end of the Clone Wars, which would be great because it means we've got Clone Wars characters, which I think we all want.
Yeah, no, definitely. And they're also talking about an upgrade system, where they use these things called kyber bricks to upgrade like vehicles and characters. How do you think that's gonna work?
I imagine that there'll be like certain abilities maybe you can put onto a vehicle, which will like give you like speed boost or damage boost or something. Maybe that's how they'll do it. And like how they have the bread. If you've played any of the Lego Star Wars games or any of the Star Wars games, they have like bread brick powers where like you can get like ×2, ×3 coin multipliers and stuff like that. Maybe it'll be something like that where you go and find these kyber bricks and then you like apply them. I don't know.
Yeah,
Seems like one way they could do it.
yeah, that is certainly one way. I think something I don't remember it being included in the other Star Wars games, but one thing that caught my eye is you're able to aim down sight with blasters. I'm pretty sure that's quite new, isn't it?
I think it was in the Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens, but I did not play that game.
Yeah,
I think it was in that, but I think the way it will be integrated will be slightly different to that.
yeah,
But yeah, it's definitely very new. I wonder how it'll affect the gameplay because a lot of the gameplay, I guess we love as slightly older people who played the complete saga, the Clone Wars game. You kind of just shoot and like just destroy stuff, and it's kind of like it was easier. So I imagine it will make the game a bit harder for to play, but I think it was executed quite well in The Force Awakens from what I've heard. But again, a game I did not play at the time it came out.
yeah. Fair enough. I think one of the things that I'm quite excited about is dynamic events. So, for example, when flying around planets, you could suddenly just get attacked by like a star destroyer. I think that's something that I don't think Lego has really done before. And then as well, contested areas where war zones are like happening on different planets. You could just rock up there and
Yeah,
just suddenly be thrown into a war zone.
it sounds good. I think again they've included similar like but much smaller things. Like they did some stuff on like was it the Marvel, one of the Marvel games? I think it was Superheroes 2 or something. They had sort of like an active crime system where like random crimes would be pop up, but it would be like 5 or 6 enemies for you to defeat. But this sounds like it's going to be,
Yeah.
hundreds or like large ships and stuff, which is kind of what we want from like just a Star Wars game in general, rather than just necessarily a Lego game. So it does sound like something that will make the gameplay feel fresh and probably would keep you playing or want to actually, even if you're a casual player who just wants to play the story, might actually want to replay it because of sort of the element of more stuff happening. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think
It
I think
seems good that they're gonna have it.
Yeah, I think the fact that there are so many playable characters, locations, and vehicles does really have that replayability. Like, so you're gonna like you can do it loads of times to be this character and all different characters. So I definitely think it does have that ability that people are gonna want to keep playing with it. And the fact that it's gonna have all 9 movies with and it's gonna have at least 5 levels in each and has voice lines. I think that just sounds great. I mean, it's just what we've all been wanting.
I think there was a little bit of controversy when the game was announced about the voice lines because some people prefer the grunt
Yeah,
noises. So
yeah,
I think was it TT Studios were looking to see if they can incorporate a way so they can have like a on and off switch for the grunt noises as a replacement, which I think's fantastic if they do it because again nostalgia. But even with the voice lines, I think it'll be good. Hopefully they just rip. They either get very good voice actors or the original cast to go and do the lines, or as much as they can, or they rip lines from the movie, so that it doesn't, because you want good voice acting that sounds like the movies, because that's the whole point of it. But yeah, it again, it sounds good, especially with the number of playable characters, vehicles, the levels that you like you said, five levels, like 5 levels on each episode. Sounds like it's going to be a pretty big game.
yeah, and that's minimum. Do you think that this? I mean, there sounds like so much packed inside. Do you think this is gonna be quite a high like storage game? Do you think this will be like a quite high
It'll be
like
large.
look of storage?
It's going to be large.
Yeah,
Again, though, it's the fact it's playable on Xbox One, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch, and I imagine PC as well, probably suggests that it won't. It will be because it's playable on each system. You can imagine that there will be. It won't be, you know, next gen quote unquote. But I think it'll still be a good game. It'll still be large. I can see it being a very large. You know, save like a large like it'll take a lot of storage to actually have the game, but yeah, it should be a good game. Again, sounds very ambitious from what we keep hearing,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
with the space combat as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. It's definitely an ambitious game, and hopefully they pull it off, and we have like an amazing Lego game. I mean, there's so many like the Clone Wars and the other Skull original trilogy stuff. It's already like amazing. I just can't wait to get my hands on this new game, and hopefully it's very good.
Normally Lego pull off games. I don't think I've played a bad Lego game. They're normally pretty good. So I think it's a game that is in very safe hands with TT Studios as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And moving on to our next game, the open world Star Wars game. Now, a lot of Star Wars fans are extremely excited about this, and that could be an understatement. It's not going to be EA developing. It's going to be a Ubisoft game with massive studio handling development. Who did the Tom Clancy The Division, which is quite well thought after. I think the Tom Clancy series. I don't think either of us have. You played the beta,
I
but I
pl-
don't
I
think.
played a little bit of it when it was coming out, but yeah, I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed again. That's a very
Yeah,
good Ubisoft game, and I see them doing, maybe something in a similar vein to that.
yeah, and they're going to be using the Snowdrop game engine, which again I think they used for Tom Clancy. Rumored to be out in 2023, so it's a long wait. But
Mm.
hopefully hopefully it's worth it. I mean, the potential is endless, isn't it?
There's a lot of time periods they could do, I think, and there's a lot of, especially with Disney at least created a whole new time period, which is the High Republic, and I wonder if this is going to be part of their, Disney gently pushing all the fans towards this new era they want us to all love and praise as being a masterpiece. I wonder if this is their plan to try and get the fans on side of it a bit more.
Yeah. Do you think that this is going to be set in the High Republic era?
I think it's quite likely. Again, though, there's so little material on the High Republic era that it probably has the most potential for a sort of narrative game that doesn't have to worry about the restraints of the three trilogies,
Yeah.
as opposed or a game maybe post Episode 9 also makes sense. But I'd imagine they don't want to do a game that will be. If it depends on how they want to do it, whether it's a sort of linear game where there's no sort of decisions you can make. But if there's going to be decisions that will affect the story, it will I don't see them being able to fit it into the films.
Yeah. So you think it's going to be more soft canon than real, like,
Maybe. Yeah,
yeah,
I think if it depends on how they want to do it. Again, if they want to do a linear game, then anything would kind of fit. If they want to do something, like in the vein of Jedi Fallen Order, then like that game kind of fits in because they had the creative liberties to go and fit that into that time period because there's enough of a gap. But because it was linear, they knew where it would end and what the effect of the story would be. I
yeah,
think if Ubisoft wants to do that approach again, there's many time periods they could fit the gap in, whether they want to do a Clone Wars game or if they want to do a sort of Mandalorian era game, that would also
yeah,
work. But I think I'm more excited by the idea they do something very different so that yeah, I think like put it sort like something that either is soft canon or soft enough canon that it can like enough of its soft canon that it can fit in without people being like, oh, it affects the timelines or something. I think the High Republic's the era that would make the most sense for a more like decision based game where the player sort of either creates a character or is able to like make decisions as the character rather than just sort of sit back in the narrative.
yeah. I kind of like the idea of this is what I'd really like is having so there's this end goal. So there's this end you're gonna have to try and defeat this evil or do something like that. But you could do it as like say a bounty hunter, you could be a Jedi, you could be like a soldier. There's a lot of different options. You could be a pilot. There could be a lot of different options that you could do to take on this. And each of those have their own different storylines and have their different like paths of getting there. And then, but yeah, the end goal is to destroy this evil. But and you could do it in different ways. I think that could be really good and could have that replayability we were talking about, like in the Lego game.
Sort of in a similar vein to not quite the same with as KOTOR, but like a KOTOR, but with far more freedom, with the
Yeah,
player being able to sort of choose how they want to approach the story. I guess also that also gives way for things like side quests.
yeah,
Maybe entire planets you don't need to visit as part of the story, but are there if you wanted to go and do some sort of large scale side quest that I'm kind of thinking in a similar vein to maybe Skyrim. I know that's not quite got the same thing where there's an end, necessarily an end goal. But if you finish the game, if you finish the main story, you end up at the same end goal. It's just that you kind of have more of an effect on the world. But I guess again, Star Wars they won't want to do quite that scale. But yeah, I think that idea would be really good. I would definitely play that game.
yeah,
like it's got that replayability. You might want to play it as like a bounty hunter or like some sort of force sensitive person, or imagine if you could play as the Night Sisters.
that would be really cool.
That'd be sick. I think that again, bounty hunters is endless possibilities. You could be like depends on when they again. If it's a High Republic game, I guess you could play as a Jedi as well. And again, that has multiple options of what sort of Jedi role you're filling as well. So there's even like sort of subcategories they could try and fill.
Yeah.
Especially with they've got enough time to execute something on a somewhat large scale. I don't know how long they've been in development though, or how long they will be in development of the game.
Yeah, it's rumored around 2023. So I think it's gonna be a while till it comes out, and they'll be in development for quite a long time.
And it could be subject to delays, as many games,
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
during COVID, have been subject to delays. I think even the game that you always think is going to come out on time, which is FIFA,
Yeah,
was somewhat delayed, which I didn't see coming. I mean, they do.
yeah,
It's a lot of it. I imagine is copy and pasted from last year. Even with the addition of the new features, I'm surprised it takes so long.
yeah. Yeah, totally. Maybe I know we bring this up a lot, but maybe this is the Brum Boy story.
The
This is
Brum Boy,
the open
maybe
world Brum
the
Boy.
open world Brum Boy story where you sweep the streets of crime with
Yes.
your with your broom.
Oh, that would be
Brian,
amazing.
Johnson's trilogy's been cancelled and replaced by Ubisoft open world Brum Boy. Maybe it'll become a trilogy of games. There'll be a
Maybe.
sequel. There'll be some comic books. There'll be tie-in Lego sets and other
Yeah.
merchandising.
This guy is the most powerful being in the galaxy, and he's just sweeping the streets.
I feel like he's like a similar character to like Darth Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah,
Where people assume it's such a pointless plot point that there must be a reason.
yeah,
uh,
exactly. Yeah,
it's,
Jar Jar's a legend. You can't.
no, no, no.
Jar Jar. He's George Lucas's favorite character, so you don't want to diss the guy who made Star Wars. His
I
favorite.
mean, to be honest, I think there's a little bit. At least he has a bit more character than some of the sequel era
Yeah,
characters. He had a character arc.
yeah,
Ironically, he had a character arc.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that was a bit of a going off on a tangent there, but
Yep, a little bit, but
yeah, but
that's this podcast for you.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, just wrapping up your thoughts on this game. What are your? Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think it's quite likely that it's going to be a
I
good game?
think again, Ubisoft have done some good games. I think Assassin's Creed's lost a bit of steam over the last what was it 6 years maybe at least 4 or 5 years. It's lost a bit of steam with the franchise, and that's kind of their big open worlds franchise that isn't the Tom Clancy games. But who knows? There's so much potential. You'd like to think it's going to be done well, but we know so little. Besides the fact Ubisoft are working on it, I'll tell you what though. Hopefully, because it's Ubisoft, there won't be microtransactions.
Oh yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
Moving on to the last game we're going to talk about, Jedi Fallen Order 2. That's in development at Respawn Entertainment, rumored around 2022, which sounds quite soon, bear in mind the game only came out in 2019, but Respawn are known for their quick turnarounds in games. There's no plot confirmed, so this is just going to be pure speculation. All we know, it's just going to be around the Cal Kestis, the main character in the first game. Yeah, are you excited for Fallen Order 2? I know you played a bit of Fallen Order 1.
I played a bit of it. I haven't finished it yet, but I've been planning on finishing. But you know what it's like with games; you end up having a huge back catalog of shit you don't play.
Yeah,
Especially with it's on Xbox Game Pass now because it's was it EA? A lot of EA games have moved on to that, which is nice. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential. Again, it's set 14 BBY, which gives it, as we were discussing earlier, it has enough leeway where there's stuff they can do. I think there's the Night Sister character in the game, which is one of the few instances where we actually get to sort of see the Night Sisters, which it makes for a very interesting like character because we don't see a lot of them except from in the Clone Wars
yeah, yeah,
with Mother Tamsin, which again she's a fantastically interesting character, and was it Merrin who's in Fallen Order is meant to be the last of the Night Sisters. So there's a lot. I think there's a lot they can continue to develop. She's sort of like a later entry into into the game.
Yeah.
That joins your like group of people, your party of people. But yeah, there's a lot of potential. You're trying to figure out when this what this is going to fit in with, what cameos they're going to try and put in it. I mean, Darth Vader was in the beginning of Fallen Order, and they have the Inquisitors that are from Rebels, as in the idea had started with Rebels. Maybe Darth Maul will show up, right time periods.
Yeah.
I think the fans would go nuts if he was in it.
Yeah, it's certainly rumored that he's going to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this could maybe link to the Solo movie in that kind of vein, maybe.
yeah, maybe I don't know what they want to do with it, but again, options for exploring the crime syndicates, because there's Crimson Dawn really hasn't been explored since Solo,
Yeah,
and there's potential for that. We don't really have this gritty take on Star Wars yet. I mean, the Mandalorian sort of goes there, but we've kind of seen that show's developed from being this sort of bounty hunter
yeah,
show to moving on to being, I guess, what we speculated on a previous episode, which you can check out uh,
yeah,
after this episode, where we speculate it's going to be a political intrigue story. So again, I think there's the potential they go and try and pick up something like that, and maybe they want to do the plot that ended with him destroying the holocron with the names of the Force sensitive children, sort of similar to that Clone Wars arc, actually, with Cad Bane,
yeah,
another character we haven't seen anything of since the Clone Wars. And there's many others examples I'd like to, there's potential for those sort of characters if they want to do something like that. Again, maybe they'll find out that they'll try and do something with it. Like, it seemed like Cal Kestis wants to start a new Jedi Order, but nothing really happened with that. And again, that leaves room for a lot of sequel material. We don't really know how they want to develop this character further.
yeah. I mean, they might have to if they want to link it into more mainstream Star Wars. If I don't know if that's the way to put it, but more like the TV shows or the movies, maybe they're going to need a time jump. Do you think that's likely?
Rebels is not that far a time jump from this. I think it's 10 years or so to the beginning of Rebels, which is obviously a possibility. Also, you said when we briefly discussed it for a podcast about Andor is also a possibility, because that's going to be early rebellion. Like, I'm guessing, again, similar era to Rebels, maybe before Rebels, before it's sort of the Rebel Alliance forms, but in the early days of sort of the Rebel cells. Yeah, there's a lot of potential for interesting plot points and characters. I mean, Kanan Jarrus is around and could show up, but again, I think there's some element where he's not meant to meet any Jedi before meeting Ezra,
Yeah,
and I think Maul is the likely candidate for someone making a cameo. I think it makes sense. Again, the thing we haven't talked about is that could happen is the ObiWan series
yeah,
roughly will be in this time period, which is just after Revenge of the Sith. And we were talking about the time jump. If it was if we were going to talk about Kenobi, there wouldn't need to be a time jump because it's just after Revenge of the Sith, as far as we know. Again, it's
yeah,
starring Ewan McGregor, who's too young to be close to the original trilogy. So we can assume that would be the case.
yeah. No,
That
that'll be
it fit
amazing
in.
if they
I'm not
can
sure
do.
whether Obi-Wan would show up again. There's no reason he couldn't. Ewan McGregor's finally involved in Star Wars again, and I think if they wanted him to do some motion capture stuff, I don't see him not wanting to be involved necessarily. If he's already involved in Star Wars again, I think there's a lot of possibility they could do that. But you don't want them to just include these characters. Be like, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, this character is going to be, what I mean? You don't want it just to be this whole, basically a cameo game where every
Yeah,
moment they go and, remember Hera? Yeah, this is her as a kid or something. Or like, remember that character from the Clone Wars? Here he is. I mean, it's as much as we want some cameos as fans, we don't want it just to be cameos. We want some new characters. And again, it's not either new characters or characters that have been only just introduced into Star Wars, not just very well established characters. Again, maybe they'll introduce characters in Obi-Wan that could fit into this that aren't Obi-Wan or Maul or I guess the main characters we know of. But yeah, there's a lot of potential for how they want to do it, and it does set up for a sequel quite nicely at the
yeah,
end of the game.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that it has. I think your point about possibly linking to Obi-Wan. I think I completely forgot about when that was set, and
Yeah,
yeah, I think that could be the most likely show that it links with. But yeah, at the same time, I also agree that I think that it's good to set up new characters, have different people that the fans can really get on with, rather than just like always going back to like the old the people we know already and love.
yeah. I think what I'd rather see is the actors, because again, it's motion capture. The actors look very much like their characters, or look enough like their characters, and they already have the CG models and stuff. That it wouldn't be hard to convert that for film. I think I'd rather see Cal Kestis show up in Obi-Wan rather than vice versa
Yeah,
necessarily. I think I was talking about Merrin because I think having a Night Sister character is amazing. I think that's fat. Like we don't have enough aliens in Star Wars that are main characters, or like you know, it's
yeah,
it's nice to see some like aliens, especially in the case of the Night Sisters who got completely wiped out. I think it's General Grievous at the end of the Clone Wars goes and wipes them out, or towards the end of the Clone Wars wipes them out, and there's that whole that arc with Sarge Ventress going back to Dathomir. So I think
yeah,
something where if they want to move a character, or a series of characters or the entire cast into, we have the Ahsoka show, we have I'm trying to think of ones that those specific characters would fit into. Obi-Wan would fit in because of the time period, but also the themes. I think Ahsoka obviously is also an obvious choice because again, it's about the Jedi and being the last Jedi. It makes sense that they would fit into that, or at least loosely fit into that. Again, though, with showing up in a show that's set after the games, they need to know this is where we want the characters to start and where we want to end, rather than developing upon characters.
yeah. No, I agree. I think that wraps up our discussion on the games. But yeah, let us know what you're most looking forward to. If there's any games that you would like to see happening in the near future, make sure you put it in the comments below. Thank you, Michael, for joining me.
Thank you again for having me.
No worries. And yeah, thank you for watching. And as always, may the force be with you.